Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Working in Hockey podcast. I'm your host, Nick Bowins, and super excited to be joined today by my buddy Lucas Kalish, currently the director of marketing for the new Mexico Goatheads, the ECHL's newest expansion team. You may also know him as Don't Be Sod 20, an OG NHL YouTuber. Lucas, thanks for the time, man. How we doing today?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on and excited to talk.
Absolutely. I think you've got a pretty cool path through the game, man. Like I say, one of the OG NHL YouTubers. I was watching you when we were growing up. We were probably the same age.
Yeah.
Whatever. I was still in love with your content back then. You,
Yeah.
Bacon Country, Tactics, all the guys
Yeah.
back in the day. But since then, you've worked your way up through the pro hockey ranks, and like I say, an exciting new position with an exciting new team in the ECHL here. Gonna dive into it all, but let's maybe kick things off here with the new group in New Mexico. Tell us about the role. Tell us about being part of the team from the ground floor. I got to think that's super exciting. It's basically like starting out be a GM or franchise mode in real
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a really interesting situation where kind of I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to start a professional hockey team from the ground, especially in a league like the ECHL. I think a lot of people kind of obviously think of the ECHL and think of it like a fighting league and kind of what it was back in the early 2000s, but it's turned into really, really good hockey, obviously with all the alumni kind of going through now. And to be able to create a team from scratch, not like a relocation or anything else, just straight from the ground. It's been really cool. And it was an opportunity where it was too good to pass up pretty much for me. And being able to obviously see from the ground level, obviously we did a fan vote, seeing all the votes that came in, all the name ideas and stuff like that, going through that, and then obviously the logo process. And now we're into the part where we're renovating the locker rooms, we're renovating the office, the practice. There's so many things that go into it that you have no idea, you never even think of.
That's so cool. I got to imagine that's an unbelievable experience, and in a relatively new hockey market as well, right? You're getting the opportunity to be there not only with a new team, but a new community too, and help try to grow the game in the community. You touched on kind of the process of getting the name there. You see the logo on your hat. I love the logo, the colors, the name. The New Mexico Goatheads is sick. Talk to us a little bit about the process of getting the name there. I know you guys had thousands of responses. What was that kind of process like? And were there any names that maybe caught your eye that didn't end up getting selected?
Yeah, a lot of what like the pre-work was done before I got there. So I was hired in the middle of May, and that's pretty much exactly when they launched the team and launched the Name the Team contest. So by the time I finally got boots on the ground in New Mexico, it was like beginning of July, and that's when we started our kind of the cut down of the top three names and
Yeah.
kind of went from there. So I mean, going into it, like the first time I was sent the list, it is crazy to see all the different names people came up with. Like there's some that like a lot of people suggested names like the Roadrunners that like obviously like people in New Mexico have no idea that the Tucson Roadrunners exist. So they're like, oh, that's a bird that we see all the time. That's perfect. And it's like, can't do that. A lot of people wanted the Scorpions, which was the team here back in the early 2000s. Couple of reasons we couldn't do that. We looked into it. It just didn't end up working out. And then literally names I didn't even know. Honestly, like goat heads, I had no idea what a goat head was until we kind of went through this whole process. It's a very like specific New Mexico thing that like you as someone that's not from New Mexico probably see the goat. You're like, oh yeah, the head of a goat, but it's like this little like spiky thing that is all over the ground. If you're walking around, you bring it back in, extremely painful. So it's like such a specific and unique thing to New Mexico that it just made too much sense for us to go through with it. And then obviously like the branding process, it was a lot too, where the first sketches that we got from the barn, it was interesting to say the least. It went through a lot of kind of variations of like, okay, well, can we change this? And we get to a point where we think we finally have it, and then one person notices something. We're like, okay, let's go back to this and this, and it was probably right around a 2-month process that took us all the way up to our last day that we had to order merch
To make
to
it?
get it in time. Yeah, so it's something that is rarely seen by people, and I'm really lucky to experience it.
No, dude, I think that's awesome and probably so cool to even just be a fly on the wall for some of those
Yeah.
conversations, like you say, people pointing out different things, different perspectives, and I didn't know the kind of meaning behind it there too, so that
Yeah.
always makes it special, and again helps with that community aspect when it's being a new team there as well, right? Obviously, puck drop is next season, like we talked about off air here. How many people are on the team there so far? What does your role look like day to day? Who are you kind of working with hand in hand there so far, Lucas?
Yeah, so right now in our office, we currently have 5 full-time staff members. We just hired on 2 more, so we're slowly but surely growing week by week. It seems it's all happening way faster than any of us kind of anticipated it. So when I was hired back in May, it was myself and the general manager, and he actually we came from the same team. So he kind of we I knew about him kind of going through the job process, the interview process for the GM role, and he was like, do you have any interest in kind of coming out to New Mexico? I was like, yeah, why not? Like I said, it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. So I ended up being the first hire. Then I think we hired our director of operations probably 2, 3 weeks afterwards. Hired a sales manager, director of sales. We have a operations and merchandise coordinator now, and it's slowly but surely growing. It's something where, like we were talking about off air, there's some days where you know what, where all of us are sitting in our office working nonstop 9 to 5, and then there's other days where we may play Pictionary for an hour and a half while we wait for something to happen. So it's a really unique process, and it's something too that I talked a lot in the interview process with our my coordinator underneath me. You have to be a self starter in a situation like this. It's something where you're gonna have a lot of downtime. You have to figure out how to fill that role, fill that time meaningfully, and I think that's a big thing too. It's something where, like I said, there's some days where I don't have anything to do, but you know what? I'll sit there and watch a tutorial on how to do something marketing wise, or our operations person will do inventory for the third time that week. Like it's just finding things to do one way or another. It's been really, really interesting.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. And I think taking advantage of that time, like you said, well, you do have time because things are going to get crazy, and they have been crazy through the process there for you as well. But I think that's probably an overarching kind of theme of working in minor pro hockey is knowing how to be versatile, knowing how to be a self starter, wearing those different hats. Obviously, that's a corny saying, but that's the reality in minor pro hockey, especially, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something that kind of going into the sports world, like you always hear that, but it's something where, like, especially in the hiring process, this is the first time I've ever hired like a full time staff member. Um, when I'm hiring someone, I had no idea what I was looking for, but it's exactly that, someone that can wear multiple hats. And as cheesy as it sounds, even if it's just a little bit, like our operations and merchandise coordinator that we hired, she has experience with game productions. She has experience with social media. She has experience with this and that. And it's, while she won't be doing that directly, it's something where, you know what, in a pinch, we need this, or she has opinions on this that, you know what, maybe we didn't even consider. So it's something that, like you said, is really, really cheesy and kind of corny, but it is super important.
Yeah, and it's it's sometimes hard to find in an interview, and for people applying, it's sometimes hard to quantify or qualify on your resume too. So the more diverse experiences, like you said, from game presentation to social media, whatever it may be, that helps people through along the way there for sure. But I want to work backwards through your career a little bit there, Lucas. Like I say, kind of made some different stops along the way, built yourself up a lot of different roles there over time. Most recently, you were with the Huntsville Havoc before making the switch over here to New Mexico. Little over 4 years there, if I'm not mistaken. Talk to me about your time there, how much you learned and grew through that time, and how it armed you to be able to step into a director of marketing position now today.
Yeah, I think it's something where I will forever be super thankful that I got to work in Huntsville. It's something that I know, like, a lot of people coming out of college are looking for sports jobs, or looking to get in the NHL. They're looking to get in the major leagues, and it's something where, like, it's obviously not the flashiest thing. Not a lot of people don't know what the SPHL is, and honestly, until I worked in it, I had no idea what it was. But it's something where I was able to kind of come in with a little bit of experience that I had from college and another job that they really allowed me to grow a lot. And it's something where I came in there, I was pretty confident in my graphic design work, my social media work. And then from there, I was able to obviously learn paid marketing. I was able to learn camera operation. Game production was a big one that I was involved with. So it was something that really they allowed me to grow. Like I said, from a kid who had never picked up a camera to now I love shooting hockey. It's literally one of my favorite things to do. So I loved working in Huntsville. It's an insane hockey market for it being in Alabama. We sold out my last season there. We sold out every single home game. It was something where we had a really, really close knit front office that we were all really close friends. We always hung out, and it's something where unless this situation came up, I'd still be working there, to be honest with you. I had really no desire. I wasn't actively looking for jobs. It's a place where I cannot say enough good things about my time in Huntsville.
That's awesome to hear, and I think hopefully, resounding with people as well to apply for some of those different teams or
Yeah.
different leagues that maybe they didn't know about beforehand, like you
Yeah.
said, right? And there is just something so special about an unforeseen hockey market like that,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah, I think of it with like junior hockey in Canada all the
Yeah.
time. Like where okay, maybe there's only 10,000 people in the town, but all 10,000 can name every guy on the
Exactly.
team, and they're there every Friday night. Like
Yeah.
it's just such a when you get the community buy-in, like I know Huntsville has, and you alluded to there, it's so special, and it makes you like extra pride or extra gear in your work
Oh, yeah.
too.
Yeah, and it's something too where like growing up in Chicago, I obviously never I went to Blackhawks games. Why would I go? Like obviously I knew like the Chicago Wolves and I knew the Ice Hogs and stuff like that, but I could drive an hour to go see the Hawks play every night, or I could drive an hour and a half to go see the Chicago Wolves or the Ice Hogs. It's like something that I never really got to experience growing up, and it's something that I legitimately I tell this to people all the time. We're like, oh, what do you want to do? It's like, oh, do you want to keep moving up? It's like honestly for me, I love working minor league hockey. It's something where, like you were talking about, the community aspect is just so different than anything else. Obviously, it's nice to have 25,000 fans in the seats, have a million followers and stuff like that. But there's something really special about minor league hockey where you're able to really connect with the community, connect with the players. And I think it's part of what made us so successful in Huntsville. We were so ingrained in that community that everyone knew the players. The players were literally local celebrities there. People knew like our salespeople that were front facing, like they knew them, like walking around town. They'd be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Jared? What's up?" Like, it's crazy. It's something that you never really would get in the NHL, or I don't know about the AHL and stuff like that. But it's something that's so unique, and it's something that I've really come to kind of love.
No, I think that's super, super good point, and I think, like you said before, with New Mexico and the ECHL, like there is so much talent on the ice too that the product is there, regardless of the league. I have a scout friend who I'll leave anonymous, but his line is always the best player you played with growing up couldn't hack it in the SPHL. Like
But yeah,
he trying to prove a point that like this hockey is so much better than people think, and again with a small community, they buy in, they love it, and it is the best show in town sometimes, and that's a special place to be. But before that, I know you were in North Carolina with the Marksmen as well, and in a marketing role there. Again, kind of going reverse chronological here through your career, but tell me about that role, what it was like working with the Marksmen.
yeah. So I got that job straight out of college. I graduated from Wichita State University, and I interned with the Wichita Thunder for about I don't know, it was probably 4 months or so there. Uh, literally at that point, I was just applying for literally any hockey job that I could find, and like I said, I knew nothing of the SPHL. I moved to Fayetteville sight unseen. It's an interesting place for sure. It's a army community. The biggest base in the U.S. is located there. It's a really interesting market to try and kind of grab the attention of because obviously you have a bunch of army people that are mid 20s, but can't really get off base sometimes, and it's hard finding ways to get them to come all the way out to the arena from base and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about it, but it was definitely different than Huntsville. I think there was a lot on my plate, which was a good thing and a bad thing. Like I was fully in charge of game production. I was fully in charge of all media. I'm fully in charge of selling Chucka pucks. And it was something where on a game day, I'd be sitting there tweeting the game, trying to take photos while also trying to sell Chucka pucks for the team. So it was a much different situation. And then obviously I was there during COVID. So having to kind of go through all of that as well, it was a really interesting process for me. And it's something where I was able to kind of make some connections that got me to Huntsville. So the head coach I worked with in Fayetteville, North Carolina, there, he ended up moving on from Fayetteville, but he used to coach in Huntsville, and he was like, "Hey, they have this opening. Would you be interested?" And I was instant yes. Got through the process there. So pretty crazy. But my last two jobs, I literally never applied for. I had no application process pretty much for the last two jobs that I had. I had a formal one with this one just because it's a little bit more important. But yeah, it just goes to show you that, like, no matter how your time was in a place, it's so important not to burn any bridges. I wouldn't say I had the best time at Fayetteville, but you know what? It's a part of my journey. Without Fayetteville, I wouldn't have gotten to Huntsville, wouldn't have gotten here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's opening those doors and building those connections because you never know where an opportunity comes from, right? And especially in hockey, like you said, such a small world that you found the first job just by applying online, but now that you had your foot in the door and you met good people and you proved your worth and your skill set, now you build off of there and you didn't have to apply for the last two.
Yeah.
I guess you mentioned a little bit about game production there. I think Lucas, that's one of the areas of kind of work within the game that pretty ambiguous to people. I don't think they think about that a lot. Unless you've worked in the game, you don't really know what all goes into that. Social media, we kind of get you're posting the scores and graphics and videos, etc. But what went into kind of game production there through your prior roles?
Yeah, so kind of starting off in Fayetteville there, essentially, our arena was set up in a way where they had a full-time production person. So my job prior to every game day was going in, loading in graphics, loading in motion graphics, whatever was needed. Um, and that was basically it. It wasn't too intense. Like, they kind of handled everything, but it really got my first step in the door. And even knowing what a Daktronics machine is, knowing what a 3-play is, a TriCaster, a switcher, whatever it is, it was something where, kind of going into Huntsville, I started off my first year in Huntsville. I was live tweeting every single game from the production room, just the way that my boss had it set up for me. And it's something where I got to see so much of the behind the scenes and kind of really understand what all goes into it. And it turned into a thing where, again, I was loading everything into the Daktronics machine. But at that point in Huntsville, we were the main tenant. We were the main people in the building. We were responsible for all the production stuff. So I was in there making Daktronics buttons, making sure all the ribbons were working, making sure that the buttons lined up with the script that we had written, and understanding, okay, you know what, we need to clear out the TriCaster. Does the TriCaster have the right motion graphics, and all these different things that kind of play into it, that, like you said, never really think of. And it is really ambiguous as a role. And it's something where it's hard to showcase on an interview as well. You can't really, unless someone specifically asks for it, you're not going to know that they sat at a Daktronics machine, loaded in 50 images, 30 videos, made sure it was all lined up. And it's something really unique. And it's something that takes a lot more than kind of the average person would think.
Yeah, hey, you're giving me flashbacks there of uploading the graphics. For a bit of backstory that nobody else probably cares about, but we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
My first internship was with the attack in the OHL, and the first couple games I like tracked shots, and then I live tweeted, and then I handed out ice cream bars and like all the usual stuff. I'm on my high horse. I think I'm doing great. The next game I was supposed to do graphics and put the ribbons and the banners up, and I'll never forget. I upload the graphics. Took me so long to figure out all the technical terms that you just went through. And then I put the ribbon on, like the spinning part at the bottom, I guess. And whatever I did, I sped it up. So I'm trying to proofread it, but it's just flying around the genre
Yeah.
like that. Can't slow it down like that. That's ingrained in my memory. Is just like one of those things that you don't think of until you think of it and you do it and you get to
Oh,
see
yeah.
it firsthand, right?
Yeah, it's something too where there's so many little things that can go wrong where it's like, okay, well, like in Huntsville, we didn't have a center hung jumbotron. We had two giant scoreboards and video boards on there, but we had probably 5 to 6 different little tiny ribbons all around the arena. And so we had to go through, if we had a power play graphic, every time we hit power play, we had to make sure every single ribbon was not only synced up, but saying power play with the right sponsor at the right timing. If one of them was off, we had to troubleshoot all the way back to when we loaded in. Is the button set up correctly? Is there something wrong with the DAX machine? It's just so many little things that can kind of go wrong that it really doesn't seem like a lot to, if there was a fan in the building, they'd have no idea the power play graphic was off slightly. but to us, we had to make sure it was all right. It's crazy how much goes into it.
Yeah, that one fan probably doesn't notice, but your boss does, the
Yeah.
sponsor who paid for it
Oh
does, the
yeah.
sponsor who paid for the next one that you're messing up does,
Yeah.
right? It's, yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's, that's a tricky position, handling all the kinda game presentation and production side of things there. You mentioned, doing some hiring there with New Mexico, and again, you've kinda worked through the ranks and built your career up here on the marketing side of things, Lucas. What do you look for in somebody who's applying to a marketing job today? What do people need to be doing to stand out as they graduate college or look for those first jobs in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think a simple one that really kind of surprised me was having an accessible portfolio. Obviously, marketing is so visual based that it's really hard for me to kind of consider someone if they say, "Oh yeah, I'm really great at graphic design. I have really good experience with Adobe Premiere." And there's nothing to show for it. So I can't tell you how many applications I got where the resume looked pretty good and just nothing to show, no portfolio available. If I search up their name, nothing available. It was something where it was really interesting because there were a couple interviews I had where I before I even scheduled an interview, I was like, "Hey, do you have a portfolio available?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, let me look," and they just never got back to me. It's crazy to think that in this day and age, I know a lot of people are heavy on LinkedIn nowadays, heavy on Behance, whatever it is. Just make sure that your portfolio is accessible, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Like the more the merrier in my mind too. It's something where if there's more in there, that's more showcasing your skill set.
100% agreed. And I think, for myself, that's the first thing I click if there's a portfolio. It doesn't matter if it's, a software developer that has a link to their GitHub. Like whatever that link is, I'm clicking it because I want to see what you've done rather than read my 150th resume of the day sometimes, right? So,
100%.
I totally agree with the visual kind of portfolios, links, prior examples of work, whatever it is. Now, do you like visually designed resumes, being in a marketing role? Do you like seeing somebody's picture and some artwork on there, or do you like it classic?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think too much of it. I think it has all the same information. I like to me, if you type it all in Microsoft Word and it's black and white and just text, that's fine with me. If you jazz it up a little bit, that's fine too. I think there's I know that's like a huge thing. Like when I was in college, we were always told one page, no images, no color, black and white. And it's like nowadays, I don't personally think it matters. I don't think I'd ever find a resume like, oh, this guy's resume stinks, I'm not going to hire him. It's like it's something where like we've been saying, it's the portfolio at the end of the day. If someone had a terrible resume but they had a sweet portfolio, I'd 100% go through the interview process with them and kind of figure out why. But it's something where I don't think it'd ever be the opposite, where there's a bad resume and I'm like, oh, I'm not even giving this guy a shot.
I think that's good insight to hear from, again, somebody who sees a lot of resumes and has done some hiring there. And I think it's always personal preference with those things, right? But I totally agree. Like you can spruce it up. You can play it simple. Just have the link to the prior experience. Make it clear what you've done. All those things that we've all heard. But dude, away from kind of the marketing and pro hockey trajectory here, want to talk a little bit about your content creation and EA NHL kind of background here. Talk to me a little bit about the origins of Don't Be Sad, how we got into that, how you
Yeah.
first started making videos. Take me all the way back here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always obviously loved video games and I've always played them. It's something where when I was in high school, we would sit there and play Modern Warfare 2 until 3 a.m. every single day. And that was kind of the peak time for gaming YouTube to blow up. It was something where I always saw it and I was like, I could probably do that. Like, I love watching this stuff. I could probably do that. I could do that. So I don't know. I started, like, me and my buddy started making videos when I was in like probably 8th or 9th grade at this point, making videos, whatever. I took it more seriously than he did. So I kind of moved on. And then I made the channel Don't Be Sad 20 in, I think it was 2013 at this point. And I was a senior in high school, kind of getting ready to go to college. And it was something where, like I said, I just knew, I was like, why not? I'm sitting here playing this many hours a day. I might as well do something with it. And it turned into obviously something more than I could ever imagine. It's something, like we've been saying, it's something that I have a lot of passion for, and it's something that taught me a lot. I don't think I'm where I am today if I don't start making content. So it's been really interesting to kind of go through the highs and lows of content creation. But at the end of the day, it's something where I've never considered it a job. So obviously, like as the rise of content creation kind of happened, a lot of people started like, oh, I want to do this full time. I don't think I ever really had a desire to do it full time. I think I understood where I stood and my community as a whole, where um, I'm lucky enough to be able to go live and have people watch me or watch videos, and I'm still able to obviously work full time in professional hockey. So it's something that it's really unique, and I'm really lucky to have the experience.
That's awesome, man, and I think the passion for it is evident just hearing you talk through that, and the fact that you're still making videos, right? It's been
Yeah,
more than a decade. We've gone through
yeah,
generations in the real NHL. We've gone through several generations in the
oh
NHL
yeah.
video game, and you're still churning it out. What keeps you kind of motivated to keep posting there and keep doing it well? Like you said, you have that full-time job right now. Is it just the passion and love for the kind of creative outlet there?
I don't know if it's more so the creative outlet. It's more so the community for me. Like I think, like I said, it's amazing to me that I'm able to go live any time of day, and I'll have at least 25, 30 people sitting there that I've talked to plenty of times and can have a conversation with. It's something where, like I talk to my fiance about it all the time. I'm like, hey, I'm going to stream. She's like, oh, okay, why? I was like, I'm going to sit here and play video games for 4 hours. I might as well go
Dude,
live and talk to some
yeah,
people with it. So and it's something too where I've built a lot of great relationships with some of my viewers. Obviously, other content creators are some of my closest friends that I have now too. So it's something where it's the community that keeps bringing me back. Like I honestly don't. I don't know. I think there's different avenues for it. Like I said, I kind of always understood where I am in the content creation game. If I'm editing one of my videos, I'm done in 15 minutes. I don't add any special things to it. I add some music, so maybe a intro and outro. That's about it. Like it's something for me where it's not more so the creative aspect of it. It's really that community aspect for me personally.
yeah, again, that's awesome that you've again built that up and had that for so long. It's yeah, so cool and just such a cool way to continue doing your hobbies and passions
Yeah.
and make something fun out of it. You mentioned kind of the relationships with other creators, and I think you said before too, like you really kind of started it at a great time to start
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Are there any kind of key turning points or memories that you have that stick out as like, wow, that was like really changed where things were headed, or that was the best time ever, well, kinda on your content journey?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think from the start, I never really saw it as like a full time thing. I was never trying to make it full time. So it's something for me where I was really lucky to obviously be invited to a bunch of different EA events and get flown out to Vancouver, see where they developed the game. We got to go to New York a couple times to do some different experiences and stuff like that. We went to Portland, Oregon when they had the Adidas hockey event, and there's a lot of things throughout the content creation side of my life that like I said, I'm incredibly thankful for it. And like I said, I'm not here today without being able to do YouTube. And it's something where I think you'd get a different answer for sure if you're talking to someone that is full-time content creation. But for me, it's the little moments. Like I think it's in my office at work, but in 20, I think it was NHL 20, they literally made like team of the year trophies for content creators. So I literally have this like, I don't know, it's pretty tall. It's like this big, and it literally has EA team of the year logo, don't be sod 20 winner on the bottom. And it's something where it's like something that's so like inconsequential to a company like EA, but it's like something that I always look at in my office. I'm like, that's sweet. Like there's only probably 10 of those in existence. And the fact that I'm able to have one in my office is pretty cool.
That's super cool. Wow, that's super cool, and that's worth it alone to do it for those things, absolutely. Has there been a what's your favorite year of the NHL games?
Oh, I get this question a lot, and it's something where like I'm not good at the game. Like that's not my whole thing. So it's like something to me like I could not tell you the difference between gameplay of NHL 25 and NHL 21 or 14 to whatever. Like it's something to me that just kind of goes over my. I sit there and play the game. Like I don't think too much about it. But I think like the content side of things, like in NHL, like it had to be NHL 17 or 18. That's kind of when they started. It was like a whole EA content creator program. They would literally give us those NHL points. They would give us so many of those, and I would just sit there and open packs for hours and hours and hours. And it was like the first time that there was a big change in HUT with sets and kind of different ways to make players, different kind of packs. So that was the year that kind of always sticks out to me content wise, just because it was so different from everyone from every other year. And obviously, we were getting just so many of those points that we were just every content creator that was in it was opening probably thousands of packs every day. So it was really fun to not kind of worry about it. It was a time where we could kind of turn our brain off and really just make creative content where we had access to every single hot card in the game because we had millions and millions of coins. And it was, if I wanted to do a series where it was all Blackhawks cards, I could get any Blackhawks card I want. I could just reach out to them if it's out of the market. So it was a really unique year that I think changed a lot of how EA handled it. But that's always the year I look back on.
Jealous of all the free.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was over here
exactly.
spending money on it probably,
Oh
but,
yeah,
no, that's awesome, man.
yeah.
I wanna do a quick little, Don't Be Sod 20 trivia for you.
God.
I got a couple of questions to put you on the spot here. I think you already answered one before, so we'll see if you can get these, alright? Um,
Okay.
when and what was your first YouTube video on the Don't Be Sod 20 channel?
Oh God. So I know I did a. I want to say it was either the Nashville Predators or Montreal Canadiens GM mode. It was like one of my first videos. One of my other first ones was like NHL 13, I think it was at that point. I pulled like a. I honestly, it was like a milestone Bergeron or something like that. And I was like, oh, I have to upload this. And it was like a minute long video that I uploaded. And that was like my first one. Um, those are the only two that kind of are on the top of my head, though.
You nailed it, dude. Canadians Be a GM,
There
July
you go.
7th, 2013. How about
There you
that?
go. It's crazy to look back on it. It's so funny too, like going back, like I'll randomly like go back and look at those videos in the comments, and like it's the same people that are still active on Twitter or in
Yeah,
my streams or even on my it's like it's crazy to think that 13 years ago I was sitting there doing the same thing essentially. It's mind blowing.
that's awesome. Next one that I had for you, my friend. What's your most popular YouTube video?
Oh God. I think it's the NHL 14 when I got Milestone Crosby. That was like kind of not really like my jumping off point, but that's definitely the video I think that got the most traction for me as far as like subs and followers and all that stuff. So I would assume it's that one. I'd be surprised if it was anything else.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the one. You're 2 for 2 here. Almost 200,000 views on that. And
Yeah.
to kinda close the loop on the community aspect you touched on earlier, the very top comment it showed me when I looked at that video today and watched it in full because I'm a Hut sicko, um, it was, "Dude, I'm watching this here in 2025
Yeah.
still." And it was a guy who
Yeah.
commented a couple months ago. Like, that's
It's
awesome.
crazy. I get comments all the time like that. Like I honestly like my videos nowadays, like I get like 10, 15 comments on a good video, but like I'll go look back at whatever my comments are, my little notifications, and there's NHL 14 videos, NHL 15. It's crazy to see that everyone has like a memory of me. It's insane to think about. And it's something too where like working in pro hockey, it's something where a lot of the players nowadays know who I am. Like it was really weird. Like like when I first started in pro hockey, I wanted to make sure I never wanted to like feel like I only got this job because I had a YouTube following or Twitter following or whatever it is. So I never really brought it up like around the players, the coaches. And in my first year in Fayetteville, we signed a kid. I think he was straight out of college, whatever. I'm sitting there taking his headshot, and he's like, are you Don't Be Saw 20? I was like, yeah, yeah, I am. And he's like, oh my God, dude. I used to watch you all the time. And I was like, okay, sounds good, man. I like went back to my office, closed my door. I was like, oh my God, please no one else find out. And then he ended up telling most of the guys on the team, like, oh my God, I love it. And it's something where it's happened on pretty much every team that I've worked for. Last couple years in Huntsville there, a lot of the guys played NHL. Like one of the better players last year, he grinds hot. Like probably honestly, he played more than me last year. And the way I found out, I was literally playing randomly. It was like probably September. No, it was probably like beginning of October. I was playing NHL 24, just playing a guy, whatever. He beats me. And he sends me GG. It's blank from the Huntsville Havoc. And I was like, oh my God. Literally. And then the next day I walk into the room and he's like, how was that game last night in Hunt? I was like, oh my God. I just randomly matched up with him. He knew my gamer tag and he knew it was me. So it's a really weird kind of thing where it's crazy to think people have like memories associated with me, but it's really weird.
That's so cool. That's so cool. My third and final trivia question here for you, sir. I know you're a social media guy. You've got some Twitter fingers. How many tweets do you think you've fired off from at Don't Be Sod 20?
Oh, I legitimately don't think I have any idea on this one. Oh, I probably had that Twitter since like probably around like 2013, 2014 too. So like I used to tweet all the freaking time. Like I live tweeted every Hawks game. Oh my god, power play. Oh my god, penalty. Like every single game. Oh god. 50,000. I honestly have even no idea like of a range even to be honest. I'd say
You've
50.
got Twitter fingers. You've got Twitter fingers. 150,000 tweets, my friend.
That's kind of embarrassing, I feel like. I guess I don't know, over 10-ish years. I don't know. That's crazy though.
I thought it was a lot. I thought it was a
Yeah.
lot, but the power
Yeah.
plays, oh my god, it's 3-2. Oh my god, it's
Oh
3-3.
my
That'll
god.
probably do it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I was sitting there. I was sitting in my dorm in college, just sitting there tweeting the entire game. Like, what's the purpose of it? Like looking back on it now, what like there's no reason. No one was following me to know what my thoughts were on the Hawks Canadians game in March. Like, oh, it's crazy.
That's a lot of tweets, but 2 out of 3 is not bad on the trivia. 2 out of
Yeah,
3
there
is
you go.
not bad. But no, Lucas, this has been awesome. I think you've got an interesting journey through again the content creation as well as the marketing with pro teams there. Last question we always ask here to wrap up the episode is just best piece of advice that you can pass along to somebody looking to break into the hockey industry or sports in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I, I know it's really cheesy, like we talked about too, but it's get that experience, whether that's full time, part time internship, free internship, whatever it is. Like I know in Huntsville, I think we ended up hiring 6 interns. Full time. It's something where it may stink to obviously have to work for maybe minimum wage or work for free and just to get your foot in the door, but it goes such a long way where it's something that like I said, I interned with the Wichita Thunder when I was in college, and it's something that I never really thought too much of. But just having that on your resume and having that understanding of, hey, I've worked in sports. It may not have been full time, but I've worked in sports. I've worn a lot of hats. I understand what goes on. It goes a really long way, and I think it's something too where I'd probably roll that into wearing a lot of hats, like understanding different departments. Like I think that's something too in Huntsville that I got a lot of experience with. Like I fully understood the corporate sales. I understand from the proposal to the pitch to the contact contract negotiation into the fulfillment. I understood tickets, kind of understanding what goes into building a Ticketmaster like manifest and stuff like that. So I'd say those two things, just put yourself out there, be willing to work, then obviously learn as much as you can from different departments and really kind of learn how to wear all those hats.
No, I think that's very well said. Fabulous advice. And again, a guy who's seen a lot of different avenues and gigs within the game. So, Lucas, truly thank you for the time here, sir. Tell the people where they can find you online if they're not already subscribed.
Yeah, just don't be sod 20 on pretty much every social media. I promise I won't tweet as much as I used to at this point, but yeah, I don't know. I'll break a trade every once in a while, but that's about it
Just
nowadays.
the big stuff. Just the big stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Bedard
exactly.
making Team Canada at the Olympics.
There you go. There you
Or
go.
when the Goatheads drop some new merch over there.
There
So,
you go. Exactly. There you
Lucas,
go.
thanks for the time, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.